I have a little bit, and in general it's overstimulating for me. The marijuana is overstimulating. Okay, yeah, it is. So, yeah. So, you can, with mushrooms, you can microdose, or you can go a full in on trip. So the first thing is, what is your intention? So you need to have okay, I don't know where to start. Everything is, let's start with this, but then let's start with this, but okay, let's. So from a herbalist perspective, when you take any herb, you are merging with the intelligence of that plant. And some plants are more intelligent than others. Some plants have stronger spirits than others. And mushrooms are ether. Mushrooms are the network. Mushrooms are our ancestors. And when you take something like that, you need to look at it not in a sense of, I'm gonna eat this little substance that's gonna do something to my body. It's not like a potato. It's not like a potato. You gotta realize that it's not only mind altering. You are doing a trade. When you take mushrooms, you are trading. You're gonna lose something, you're gonna gain something. You lose, you forfeit a huge part of who you thought you were. And you gain allies. And the ally is Mother Earth. The ally is nature that suddenly has her hand on your back and it's pushing you. You can do it. You are supported. You are nurtured. But in order to get that, you need to it humbles the fuck out of you. Like, all of my psilocybin trips have been it's not mind altering, it's mind shattering. Like, it's not the same for everyone, but after my, I would say, communion, because it's not like, it's definitely not like smoking weed. Like, you smoke weed, or you make some tea, or you do edibles, and it sort of changes your perspective for a certain period of time, but then it kind of goes away after a certain period of time. It just goes outside of your system. It just, the THC goes out. But when you take mushrooms, it's like, okay, I guess I'm this new person now. And there's no, it's not like you gain something huge. You gain this feeling of it was like before I before I merged with the mushrooms, I was Dennis, the graphic designer and explorer of the human psyche and stuff like that. And that was like, I was 100% that. And then you take the mushrooms and 50% of that gets eradicated and replaced with, okay, 50% of me is still Dennis. I create lines, the human design guide, the graphic designer, the street artist, graffiti artist, boyfriend, male, 30-year-old white Croatian guy, individual from Croatia, right? And the other 50% is, I am this extension of this organic life that sometimes just uses me for whatever it needs to accomplish. Because you made this pact. You chose to merge with this intelligence that has been on Earth much, much longer than humans. And you start feeling energy, and you start feeling the waves of emotions from everyone. You start you start feeling, oh, this is not the place for me. Why? I don't know why. I'm just not gonna stay here. You unlock this new way of feeling the world, which is not easy to integrate. After certain journeys with the mushrooms, it sometimes took me at least a year to come back and function normally. It was like, at the time of my first encounters with the mushrooms, I was working in a private hospital, like a really Western, mainstream type hospital, and I worked in the archives. I was sitting there scanning, diagnose, like paper, what is the word? Records. I was in the records, the archive. I was the archivist, and I did that for like 8 hours. Scan, type in names, diagnosis, scan, type in names, diagnosis. And then I had like a vacation to Croatia, and I did mushrooms. And after the trip, I was like, I was sitting in this new awareness, and I was like, how the fuck do I go back to my cubicle now? How do I sit for 8 hours a day scanning this when I want to be barefoot in nature, and I want to be Tarzan? I want to be like, I want to be primal. Like, what the fuck is my world been up to now? I've been in this concrete jungle trying to live this life of, I don't know, man. And how do I go back to my cubicle and just do scanning, pull the card? Like, it's like, before you do mushrooms, be prepared that you're not gonna be the same. You're gonna throw away maybe 90% of who you thought you were straight into the fucking toilet. And you can't, like, mushrooms are also, if you want to take like 5 years of psychotherapy, slowly releasing things, you know, like, okay, this is not me, I'm gonna go home and integrate all these little things. And then if you take mushrooms like a regular amount for a trip, it's like, oh, you thought you're gonna shed your old beliefs slowly. No, here comes rape. Here comes dismantling your entire ego in 2 hours. And I was a fool because I never had a shaman, I never had a guide, I never had. That's why with all these things, they are done in ceremonies where there is a person that is there with you, that knows what's going on, to guide you through the process. I did a lot of mushrooms, and I went into the forest by myself, and I was like 3 hours in fight or flight mode, just walking around the forest, like just like floating above myself, like, I hope this ends good. I hope this ends well. I need to go back and live with people that I've lived at that point. I lived with a family. I lived with a family that had 2 kids, and I knew that I needed to go back to the apartment where I lived with them only for a year. And I was like, how do I come back to this apartment? I'm gonna come in front of them and they're gonna ask me something, and I'm just gonna be like, because when you are on mushrooms, your mind becomes so secondary, and what comes to the forefront is your breathing. Your emotions get amplified, your body sensation, your energy, your chi starts circulating, all of the blockages. You go into this, it's like waves of crying and then release, and then you're sort of back. And then suddenly you get another hit from your stomach from this mushroom. It just sort of like goes like, and then it's like, and it's pulsing through you. I get this. It's, if you want to see, go to my website, go to icreatelines.com and go to the artwork section. I have so much artwork that I've done after doing mushrooms, and it's like, you know how some animals have a symbiosis with some other animals? For example, there is a frog that has a mushroom living on its back, and there is a fish that has a smaller fish that attaches on its back, and it lives the rest of their lives. They live together. And then there's this fish that comes into the mouth of a bigger fish, and then it replaces its tongue, and then they live together. And it's not like that, but think of it as a way of, it's the mushrooms are not only mind altering, you're actually coming into contact with a life form that you know nothing about, and that is immensely more powerful and intelligent than you are, even though it can't speak, even though it's underground, and sometimes it comes out as a little mushroom. But the real intelligence is the mycelium network underground, and the mycelium network sprouts a tree, and sprouts a bush, and sprouts a human, and sprouts an animal, and sprouts an insect, and a coral, and so we are all, our origins are from that mycelium. And when you take a mushroom, you are taking directly the source in yourself. After I've taken mushrooms, I felt as if my ancestors are not only humans. I felt an animal part of me get activated. I felt close to an octopus. I felt close to a tree. I felt that etheric oneness, that, like, language is human, and there is no way in this world that I can, with language, explain how that intelligence changes you. Because that intelligence doesn't operate through language, it operates through electromagnetic fields. It operates through waves. It's like, yeah. I could talk about this for 2 days and still not even scratch the surface of what you feel. And it's not for everyone. You need to have clear intention. You need to have a good setting. You need to be in nature preferably. You need to be around people that are supportive. Ideally, you should have some, like, if I were near any of you guys, I could be the shaman for you. I could be the guide for that sort of trip. Ideally, you need somebody to be there for you, because, like, imagine taking a substance that makes you face all the bullshit you've been putting under the rug your whole life, and in 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, you can't escape it. Everything comes to the surface. Everything comes to the surface. It just bubbles out. All the rage, all the sadness, all the grief, everything comes out. And that can be overwhelming for a lot of people. Imagine going to therapy for 5 years, slowly uncovering all the emotional baggage, all the trauma, and instead of doing 5 years of therapy, you decide to do 5 grams of mushrooms and get the whole thing fucking sorted out in 3 hours. It's not for the faint of hearted. And it doesn't have to be scary. I'm just saying it's intense. It can be beautiful. It can be a beautiful release if you are prepared, if you have a person next to you. And then you can do microdose. Microdose is basically doing very little doses and seeing how you react. Some people dance all day. Some people feel free to express their emotions. A lot of people get anxiety, depression, trauma, because you just feel uninhibited. But you need to be careful. Like, you just need to be really, really careful. You need to be really respectful. You need to be very humble to go into these sort of experiences, because you need to understand that once you go deep enough, you encounter a living intelligence. It's not like eating a potato. There is intelligence that is more intelligent than humans. We can speak, yes. We can walk around, yes. We can choose to build houses, yes. We can further medicine, yes. But this intelligence has been around forever. It has seen everything. And it's still underground. It's still sprouting mushrooms. It's still evolving consciousness. It just doesn't speak. But it can speak to you if you ingest it, if you choose to come in contact with it. Just know that in order for you to get a piece of that intelligence in your life, you need to shed a lot of your own identity that was conditioned upon you. So tread carefully. Tread carefully when it comes to psychedelics. It's really a force to be respected, and you get a lot of healing out of it. You get the feeling I got was that nature supported me, and the earth told me, I will give you support if you use it for good. So I will give you all the power needed, but you have to become an extension of my power. So that power is not like you eat a mushroom and suddenly you are this X-Men, you know, or the superhero. No. It's like you become an ambassador, or at least that's how I feel. Is that through my communion with the mushrooms, with the earth, in that sense, I can have all the power that I need, but if it's used for the good of everyone. So you gain a lot, but you can't just use it however you want.